Hi, my name is Mary Delisle, and today I'll be presenting Deafness and the Arts. Deafness in the arts is an underrated but beautiful thing. Deaf people and the rich culture they have contribute not only to hearing art performances and pieces, but also to art forms in the deaf community. To understand deafness in the arts, it is important to first understand deaf culture as a whole and the values and beliefs that unite deaf people. Deaf culture involves a complex group of people with similar ideas and values. As stated by Mark Ross in his article from Hearing Research, quote, "Deaf culture is a dynamic and evolving community that shares a common history and identity. Its members have developed a collective sense of pride, unity, and belonging grounded in their shared experience and struggles." Deaf pride, as mentioned by Ross, is a common theme in deaf culture. Deaf people, many of them, embrace ASL as a natural part of their lifestyle. This idea is demonstrated by deaf woman Glenna Cooper, who gave a TED Talk about being deaf. In her TED Talk, she said, quote, "I'm proud to be deaf. American Sign Language is something that I greatly value because it flung the world right open for me, even more than I had before. I love American Sign Language, deaf culture, and deaf history, and the deaf community. We know we're not disabled." Now that we've gone over an understanding of deaf culture, I want to just highlight what we're going to be talking about today, specifically with deaf culture and the arts, which is performance spaces, deaf artists, deaf art, deaf network and resources, and deaf discrimination. The first performance space is the Deaf West Theater. The Deaf West Theater was founded in Los Angeles, California in 1991, according to its About Us page, as a, quote, "bridge between the deaf and hearing worlds." The Deaf West Theater hosts performances that weave together the English and ASL languages to create a cohesive performance. The other performance space is the National Theater of the Deaf, which is a space that hosts English and ASL integrated performances to create beautiful productions while combining deaf and hearing cultures. The National Theater of the Deaf was founded in 1967 and operates in Washington, D.C., according to their About Us page. The National Deaf Theater, along with the Deaf West Theater, allows hearing and deaf cultures to understand one another better by coming together through collaborative productions. But more important than the spaces that host the artists are the artists themselves. So I'll be talking about three artists in different forms of art who are significant in the deaf community. And these people will be Ludwig van Beethoven, Marlee Matlin, and Granville Redmond. Ludwig van Beethoven was a deaf composer and conductor who lived in Germany from 1770 to 1827, according to Cartwright 2023. While he was not born deaf, Beethoven became so later in life, as stated by Deaf Unity, quote, "After experiencing buzzing noises when he was 26, Beethoven had lost 60% of his hearing by the age of 31 and become completely deaf at 46. Beethoven, despite his hearing loss, has become one of the most famous composers in music history." The next deaf artist is Marlee Matlin. Matlin is a deaf actress and the first deaf person to win an Academy Award for Best Actress, according to Deaf Unity. Matlin has starred in over 66 movies/shows over the course of her career, according to IMDb. Throughout her career, Matlin has advocated for deaf rights and members of the deaf community. The deaf roles she plays help highlight the experiences of deaf people in everyday life. The next artist is Granville Redmond. Redmond was an American impressionist and landscape painter who lived from 1871 to 1934, according to the American Art Gallery. Redmond attended the California School for the Deaf in Berkeley before attending the California School of Design. He also won the Brown Medal of Excellence. Redmond also worked with actor Charlie Chaplin to help him develop expressions to use in his silent films. While some deaf artists, like Redmond, use the same art styles as hearing people, there is a form of art that is made exclusively by members of the deaf community. This style of art is called devia. According to the Deaf Museum of Art, quote, deaf view image art, also known as devia, is art that examines and expresses the deaf experience from a cultural, linguistic, and intersectional point of view. Devia often includes signs within the paintings or art pieces that express deaf culture and experiences. Devia is just one resource for deaf community members to connect with, however. There are growing numbers of ASL and deaf arts related resources available online and in person. One such resource is DPAN. As stated on its Our Mission page, quote, the Deaf Professional Arts Network, DPAN, a nonprofit 501c3 organization, was originally founded to make music and music culture universally accessible by extending its reach to the deaf and hard of hearing. Since 2006, DPAN has pioneered the art form of creating high-quality American Sign Language (ASL) music videos, translating the lyrics of popular songs through ASL. DPAN strives to make music arts more accessible to the deaf community. Anyone who visits the site has the possibility of uploading a project that the DPAN team will review and consider posting to the network. Despite DPAN and other resources created for the purpose of making art more accessible to deaf and hard of hearing individuals, discrimination is an unfortunate presence that penetrates deafness and the arts. Glenna Cooper stated, quote, when we have to fight almost daily to protect sign language, we experience a lot of oppression and discrimination, just as any other cultural group experiences oppression on their cultures. Deaf individuals are discriminated against in a variety of ways, but the most prominent ways in the arts are the casting of hearing actors to play deaf roles and the lack of deaf actors in movies generally. Deaf actress Marlee Matlin spoke out against this discrimination of roles for a 2021 film called Coda, which is about a deaf family. Now, the directors in this film had considered using a hearing actor to play one of the deaf main characters. Matlin stated in an interview with Stephen Colbert, quote, all these years of deaf actors being dismissed and people playing deaf, I thought, it's time. We've got to stop. I can't let this happen any longer. You cannot just put on a costume and be deaf and take it off at the end of the day. End quote. Matlin spoke up when she heard that the directors and producers were thinking of casting and encouraged them to find a deaf actor to play the role instead. The hope is that people seeking out, as well as films like Coda, will inspire more deaf representation in films to come, both in film and other industries. Overall, deafness in the arts is a wonderful but undervalued matter. Deaf culture is unique and expressive and provides a diverse perspective on what art typically looks like in the hearing world. Deaf culture in the arts is represented through deaf theaters, art styles, and networks that allow deafness to be portrayed creatively. As members of the deaf community continue to fight for equal representation and rights, ideally, the hearing world will come to understand the beauty of deaf culture and deafness in the arts.